Yeah, so I first contacted Claire around 7 years ago, and back then I was really struggling in social situations. So I was kind of okay one-on-one. Once I was kind of installed somewhere, talking to someone, that was fine. But going into a big room full of people, or I just really struggled and often found myself kind of on the sidelines a bit, watching other people having fun. And I was just there, and I often had that angry, mean voice in my head, saying all those mean things to me, and I didn't really know how to open up, how to connect to people and be myself in those situations. Also at work, I was struggling to contribute in meetings, let alone lead them, and was holding myself back, I guess, from certain kinds of jobs that I might have gone for that maybe needed that. Public speaking, absolutely not, totally terrifying. and at that time, for some absolutely bizarre reason, I had just started a band with two friends, so I suddenly found myself on a stage in front of crowds of people doing something that I was new at, playing music, and it was not something I was comfortable doing, and I was looking for something to help me out, to support me in that moment. So I think I was really sick of reading articles and watching video tutorials that were all about tips and tricks, like finding little ways to fake confidence, to kind of to behave like someone else. And these all felt like, things that in the moment it's impossible to remember. And I already felt like I wasn't being myself. I didn't want to add more layers of not being myself on top of that. And I think what Claire's workshops do is more like unlearning unhelpful behaviors, unlearning bad habits, and really letting a kind of natural confidence come through and allowing you to be yourself. So that was something that felt impossible, unfathomable, but it was exactly what I needed. Something else that stood out is it sounds like a small thing, but it was kind of representative of the entire ethos, and that's how much care and detail Claire puts into her emails explaining how to get to a venue or how to access a course, and little things like this doorbell sometimes doesn't work, or that door needs a really good hard shove, and it made me realize that this was being run by someone who really got it, who'd lived it, who knew what it felt like to be someone who might encounter a sticky doorbell and be so panicked by it that they would run home and just be like, oh good, I don't have to do this now. So that care was incredibly reassuring and made me feel like I was in safe hands. And that follows through into the workshops themselves, where Claire creates this environment of support and mutual support and mutual care that makes it a brave space, but a safe space to play and be silly and take risks and make mistakes, and then by taking those baby steps in a safe environment, I was then able to start to take that out into the world. But I think there's something in the fact that I hadn't tried anything else, I guess, because everything else had maybe seemed too scary or not reassuring. There was obviously, I think, something about that moment, but something about the way the courses are set up and the tone of everything, and the tone of it not being about fixing me, that there wasn't, when you, as someone who grew up being told basically that there's something wrong with you, that shyness is a problem and you need to fix it, to find someone who's saying, do you know what, actually shyness is kind of magic sometimes and you can work with it and it's who you are, and I just want to find a way to help you, like, not be held back by it in the world. I guess maybe that was the difference in Claire's courses compared to other things that I'd seen out there. I think a really simple way maybe of summing up the difference between where I was before I started these courses and where I am now is this video. In the past, if I was asked to do something like this, I absolutely would have said no, or I wouldn't even have said no. I would have not said anything and not replied and hidden and hoped that no one would pick on me or notice me or see me. And now it still makes me nervous. It's still a challenge, but I immediately said yes, and I signed up for like the soonest slot that I could to do it, because I know that those challenges now are something I leap on, something that I know I have real experience of, knowing how that little challenge, that little stretch, has big impacts in my life. My band's been playing for 7 years now, and we did hundreds of gigs and released an album and went on tour in Europe. And I just don't know if that would have been possible without getting more comfortable in my own skin and getting more comfortable taking up more space and making a noise. Making a big noise was a big part of my challenge. So that's something I got used to. I speak in meetings at work a lot more. And I think, if I can explain this, it's not even just that I know how to make myself heard, it's that I actually believe that what I have to say is worth listening to. So in a way, the whole journey hasn't just been about making sure that other people listen to me. It's actually that I listen to myself, and that is kind of connected to developing a better sense of intuition and knowing who I am and being comfortable being seen for that in the world. I'm also learning more about my creativity every day and allowing myself to write and to just be more present in the world, and to say yes to my own voice, in that sense, to my own creative voice. Writing more, when for years I just didn't do that because of some kind of block, or not being sure if my voice was welcome in the world. So yeah, about listening to myself as much as making sure the world was listening. That was one of the signs that I knew I was making progress. That when I first started going to the courses, I would tell colleagues that I had a private appointment. And then as time went on, I might have said that I was doing drama. And then as more time went on, I might have said it was, had a therapeutic element. And then I started talking about shyness. And I talk about shyness at work a lot. I talk about other kinds of neurodiversity as well, because I really believe it's important to make space for different kinds of people. And I never would have talked about that stuff before, because I was ashamed of it, because I was taught that it was something to be ashamed of. And now I talk about it all the time. Yeah. The kind of the effect of doing all the courses over quite a long period of time, I was thinking about it, and it sort of reminded me of like a toddler who's running out into the world and trying things out and testing things and seeing what's possible, running back to their parent for reassurance. And so I would do these courses, and then I would take what I'd learned out into the world and try things, and life would change, and then I'd hit a new wall or a new threshold, and then I would come back for the next course, and it would like take me up to the next step. And so it feels like they've been there like stepping stones for me along the way.